Hello everyone, Festy here. Today I'm going to be making another day in the life of a struggling P2 player. Today I have a relatively interesting game that I like to share with you guys. Um, and I feel like this game has one of the best P2 games that I have played as of recently. And I feel like P2 in this current meta is slightly unfavored due to how many people are playing P5 and P6. And P4 sort of just counters P2 quite severely. So it really doesn't leave that much room for P2 to be playable. And this game, I actually decided to invest a lot in beluga sturgeon. And it all boils down to sort of how I vision the game in terms of how it's going to end. Because I know the opponent is going to be making a big ox and probably another big unit. So my only chance to win is if I kill everything on their board, and my dolphin will be the only faint summon that appears after everything dies. So that's my game plan. So that's why I managed to put a lot of the blackberry on my beluga. And I actually went with another really strong and solid pet, which is the Gardio. And I managed to get a straight level 4 Gario from having triples in shop. And I also managed to get Stingray and Snapping Turtle, but decided to get Stingray because not Stingray, Snapping Turtle, because I already have a level 2 Gardio. And what's interesting about this Snapping Turtle is I managed to get it on board when I have a pretty solid board with relatively sizable pets. And when you're in that sort of board state, usually keeping it is not a bad idea. But I knew if I really wanted to win, I will have to sell it eventually, because my enemies' pets are getting stronger and stronger, or it's, in simple terms, snowballing. And my odds of winning with it would diminish if I kept it. So I decided to get a Mosasaurus to at least buff my pets just that little bit more in order to cross the line. And one of the key things to look out is how many lives your opponent is on. And I realized that they're on lethal. So my goal is trying to create the strongest possible board. So as you can see here, I managed to get 2 Puma with a level 3 sword from Guardial. And my Ellie Seal hits from shot phase was favorable because it managed to hit these 3 pets, which is perfect to counter their leopard and their ox with a relatively weak skunk at the back, because everything else got sniped from the sword with the with 2 level 2 Puma. And he also got rid of the tiger with stake. And I actually had a pretty high odds of winning this particular turn, mostly because of the size of my 3 pets. But my opponent actually had a 40% odds of winning as well, depending on where the leopard snipes go, because my opponent had a level 2 tiger. And another interesting thing to note is my opponent managed to get a cat, which means if I didn't win this turn, I pretty much lose, because the snowball will be far too big for me to counter. So winning this game was actually pretty important. So let's just continue and see what happens. So yeah, my Spaluga managed to kill their last pet, and I won with the Rice Bowl Dolphin, which is how I envision the end game will, or my win condition will look like, which is pretty much spot on. And yeah, I'll also be joining Team Tour this season, and it's mostly because I want to see what it's all about, check it out, and yeah, hopefully it'll be all good fun, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Thanks, and yeah, have a good one.